Hey everybody, Jay Super Awesome here. I'd like to welcome you all to week number 17 of my slasher movie archives. In this video, I will be giving my review for Old 37, released in 2015. Don't worry, he's a paramedic. Okay, so getting into the plot for this one, deep down the forgotten stretches of back road where the cool kids race their cars, two deranged brothers, Daryl and John Roy, intercept 911 calls in their father's beat-up old ambulance to exact medical atrocities upon their unlucky victims. Okay, so getting into my thoughts for this one. A few weeks ago, when I got to meet and talk with Kane Hodder in person, we got to talking about movies that he had been in, and he mentioned Old 37 to me, and talked about his chicken dance scene in this movie. It was something that he improvised and come up with in the spur of the moment, and they kept it in the movie. It's actually a very brief moment in the movie, but it was something that he was obviously proud of, so I thought I would mention it. At the time, I hadn't seen Old 37, and I didn't have a copy, so immediately after our conversation, I had to track this one down, and I have to say that I really enjoyed this movie, even though I do have a few minor issues with it. The main concept of this movie is we have a family of killers who live in a junkyard who intercept 911 calls. So they show up at the scene of these accidents in their ambulance before the real paramedics can arrive. It's a really deceptive tactic that they use pretending to be paramedics. So they murder helpless, vulnerable victims, and oftentimes they bring the victims back to their junkyard home where they are tortured to death. It's a great setup living in the junkyard because they can crush the victims' vehicles to hide all the evidence. And this is how this family of psychopaths has gotten away with their crimes for many years. It's a great concept for a slasher movie, but unfortunately, we don't really get too many scenes of the ambulance stuff in this movie, and that's really disappointing. Now, I did mention that this was the main concept of the movie, but to be more clear, everything that I have mentioned so far is the main selling point for slasher movie fans, but that's really only about half of it. There's elements to this movie's story that feels like a teen drama, and then there's elements to the story that has a muscle car culture feel to it. I'm really big into muscle car culture, so I really enjoyed those elements to the movie storyline. High-speed back-road racing with muscle cars and car crashes is pretty entertaining in my opinion. Overall, you mix all of these elements together, and it makes Old 37 a pretty unique slasher movie. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about the characters we have in Old 37. Amy is the main character in this movie's storyline. Amy is a teenage girl with some self-esteem issues. She has a very close relationship with her mother, who seems to date any man who comes along. Seriously, she lets Daryl into their home. Daryl, who is played by Bill Moseley, to meet Amy, and it's a really awkward scene that you just have to see to believe. I mentioned Amy's self-esteem issues. She has a thing for one of the popular guys at school named Jason, so in order to impress him, she gets a boob job and a complete makeover, all in which happens in the course of one day, with no healing from the surgery necessary. Anyway, some of the side characters we have in this movie would be Jason and his rebellious friends who like to hit the back roads with the pedal to the metal. This group of friends is only here to add to the movie's overall body count, which adds to the movie's overall entertainment value. Will Kane Hodder actually kill a person in this movie named Jason? You'll have to watch the movie for yourself to find out. Overall, I really enjoyed the characters we have in Old 37, and I thought the acting was really solid for a slasher movie. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about the most important part of a slasher movie, that is the killer and the kills. In this movie, we have a family of psychotic killers. I have already gone into quite a bit of detail earlier in the review with what they are all about, but this movie does give us some backstory on the killers, with a few flashback scenes. Kane Hodder and Bill Moseley absolutely steal the show in this one. They play as Daryl and John Roy, and as young kids, they witnessed their father responding to 911 calls and ultimately killing helpless accident victims. They would also witness their father assaulting their mother. As adults, they are mostly led by Bill Moseley's character, Daryl. Kane Hodder's character, who was abused and disfigured by Daryl as a kid, now wears a mask to cover up the damage caused by Daryl. John Roy is a big silent brute of a monster with actually a slightly softer side to him than his brother Daryl, but both are still relentless killers. And as far as the kills go in this movie, it has a pretty high body count, and we have a lot of variety with the kills, and there's quite a bit of blood and gore. We see people getting stabbed with lawnmower blades, sawed, burnt, sledgehammered, and all grinded up, just to name a few. Overall, I really did enjoy Old 37. Kane Hodder and Bill Moseley were awesome in this movie. The kills were a lot of fun to watch. And we also get a brief appearance by Lloyd Kaufman in this movie, and I thought that was really cool. Even though I do like a lot of what the story had to offer, I do feel like it slightly misses the mark. I wanted to see more of the ambulance and pretending to be paramedic stuff. Anyway, IMDb give Old 37 a 3.9 out of 10. I'm going to give it a 6.5 out of 10. So please like, subscribe, comment below. Let me know if you have seen Old 37, or just let me know what you think about my review. And as always, I would like to thank you all for watching.